Kareem. People get Raza Bakhsh Razak Reha Ko Rahim. Ama Bakhsho Bakhshan Deho Dastagir. Raza Bakhsh Rozi Deho Dil Pazir. Shahenshah Khubi Deho Rehnamu. Ki Beguno Bechuno Chube Namu. साजो न साजो न बाजो न फौजो न फर्श खुदाबंद बख्शन दे शर्श। धन धन गुरु गोबिंद सिंह साहिब महाराज, धन गुरु ग्रंथ साहब जी, वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह। Today's topic is the third eye, Trikuti, often called the Agya Chakra. The reason I choose this subject is because some years ago, about 2-3 decades ago, I had a need to understand the structure of this third eye. And I searched a lot. I did not find a meaningful explanation or anywhere. Most of the reasoning, the knowledge of this third eye, or even in Western psychology, it's called the pineal gland. They have a very structured response, and it did not seem to me that many people really had an experience of this third eye. Most of it was copy-paste. And there is a lot of misinformation about this third eye as well. People get confused with the Dasam Dwar, the third eye, whereas these are two very different things. There should be no confusion. Sometimes knowledge of these subjects is helpful, but if our journey is intense, if there is a intensity within us, otherwise mere words are used by us to convince ourselves that we know. Only somebody who knows this experience of the third eye in intensity, because normally all of us experience the third eye in shallow intensity, not in intense form. Sometimes when we get intensely angry, we get focused on the third eye. But most of us will not be able to decipher or understand or experience the intensity of this third eye unless we put a lot of hard work to it. So, the road is still the same, Seva and Simran. It doesn't change. But the Trikuti, the third eye, is like a milestone. If we have experienced the third eye, that's a very good thing. If we have not, even then it is a good thing. Nothing is bad in the journey of the spirit, the soul. We have to put our hard work to find something where we don't need to do any work, where Sahaj is the dominant energy. Sahaj meaning non-doing. So, relaxation, doing away with desire, ignoring our thoughts and eliminating thoughts from the mind, or allowing the thoughts to drop, is the way with which we can focus our energies on the third eye. One minute, yeah. So, if we have learnt to do Simran, if we do Jap, we do Simran, then we will naturally arrive at the third eye at some point. What happens at the 10th door, the Dasam Dwar, is that a person starts touching his upper mouth with his tongue. That's the natural thing which happens. If a Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, the same experience happens to everyone. The mind is the same. So religion and non-understanding of spirituality and then using religion for ego purposes defeats the whole journey. What is the third eye? If we can give a border to the soul and the moving mind, the thinking mind and the non-thinking mind, this is the border of the thinking mind. It's called the pineal gland. They say it is a pine-coned organ at the seat of our mind. René Descartes did some work on this, and he said it was the seat of the soul. A very apt word to use. If we have worked enough in the third eye, then that experience lives with us in the next life. A third eye focus and ability means that we are able to stabilize the mind. That means we can hold on to the dimension of that mind which doesn't take birth, and so we can not be in a hurry to take birth, rebirth. The more unstable the mind will be, the more quickly we will take rebirth, and the lesser our options will be, because we will not look for the right options. If somebody is to immediately take rebirth, then he will just have to flow with whatever is coming. But sometimes when the old souls, they need time, then this third eye is their way of holding on to that side of the life. Why is it called the third eye? Because it is a perceptive reality, perception. It can see, but not the way we are looking at seeing. Doesn't see form and shape. See, everything which we do is felt by the senses. So the senses are absorbing the world experience, and it is all reflected in the mind. So in this way, all of our life experience is culminated in the mind. The senses are one way of taking in the world experience. But suppose I cut myself off from my senses. Suppose I am seeing but yet not seeing. My mind is somewhere else. I am hearing but yet not listening. I am touching but yet not feeling. So my senses are cut off. And I don't have any desires or any other thoughts moving in my mind. Then where does the mind go? Where does the mind's experience rest? Guru Sahib says that experience, if it is beyond the body, beyond life, then it goes to a place or a journey or a space called Sun, where there is no movement and everything is culminated. There is no expression, like the black hole absorbs light and even releases nothing. Like that, the mind with its baggage of karam, or if the experience is beyond karam. See, the possibilities after death are two. For the person who has experienced the 10th door and has burnt away all his desires to return, will merge and rest. But sometimes the Sant can want to return, take on the world's pain, or for whatever reason. Because a sant is not in life and death. Janam maran doho mein nahi, jan paropkari aaye. Ji daan de bhakti layan. They give the gift of spiritual life and commit us to bhakti. Harsyon land milai, and they make us meet the Creator by meeting us. So the third eye, located somewhere near the eyebrows, a little above, a little below, depending on where we are focusing, is called the Agya Chakra, also called the Trikuti. So Trikuti, third, means three. Now in the yogic tradition, they have these three energies, Ida, Pingala, Sukhmana. In the expression of life, mythology defines life in the guns, Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun. Positive, negative, lazy, energy and less energy, and then spiritual and awakened energy. So these are three again. Let me add another dimension to understand three: breath, thought, and Shabad. Now all these three culminate at the third eye. This is the energy center where my entire life energy can get focused if I have the ability to focus here. I withdraw my senses from the body and come to the third eye. That is how the yogis in older times held on to life for thousands of years. They controlled their breath at the third eye. Even now when we take breath, our breath is moving from the third eye to the navel and little below the navel and then above it. If you breathe properly hard, you will feel these centers. So some meditations like Waheguru meditation, Allahu meditation, these are meditations of energizing the third eye through Shabad and breath, and then eliminating thought. Because only when we have eliminated thought, the ego will reduce. The energy, thought is our sinkhole. We sink our energy into thoughts and they get wasted. Most of them. Only some thoughts which come to us from the beyond. आते हैं गैब से मज़ामे ख़याल में, गालिब शरीर खामा नवाए सरोश है. This pen, he says, Ghalib, the sound which is coming from this pen is not mine, it's coming from the beyond. So that is the Shabad revealed. Now, this is the border of physical life, of thought. The third eye is the energy center where all life energies culminate in dhyan. When somebody says zazen, it means putting energy in the third eye. When somebody says thirghar, that thirghar is beyond the third eye. The dasam dwar is beyond the third eye. We can go up to the third eye and energize our life. Or drive our life, and it has the ability to see, because the mind is what is seeing. The eyes are a tool, the mind sees. So if all thought energy is culminated at the third eye, then there is a perceptive seeing. Like somebody puts a torch at one place and reveals something in the darkness, so the third eye can see. And it needs effort. Of course, it's not without effort. And I am the one seeing. So ego is very much present. This is not a center where the ego is gone. That is when the Guru meets. That's beyond the third eye. So Trikuti, the three, culminate here. In the Guru Sahib, Maharaj says that Tinna Daryama se dosti, Manmukh Sacha now. The three rivers of life. We can call them the guns, the gunas, where we find expression to the ego. Or if we understand the three by life experience, say for example listening, listener, and what is being listened to, there are three. So life starts with three. So I found interestingly the three word, the tre, common in most languages. German, French, the three is a common word. It's pronounced similarly. Now, Guru Sahib says, in his experience, he says, Tragun te atit, beyond the experience of the three guna, there is another life. Third eye is sitting at the border of this life. And if I am at the third eye and I have practiced enough in this life, then it will come back to me in the next life experience. It can get confusing because the third eye makes us thoughtless. So we can be anxious, and suddenly at the third eye we lose all anxiety. So it is all gone. So I am worried about studying, and I am doing dhyan and studying, and the dhyan goes inward and it takes me to the third eye. I have no perception of anxiety now, concern or worry. Now the subject matter becomes very different. So there is a lot of energy play in the third eye. And if we don't have enough knowledge, it can get confusing. Someone wants to master a Shabad, Siddh a Shabad. Third eye is the center because it has all the energy of life culminated at the third eye. So if I can say the Shabad at the third eye and practice it regularly at the third eye, then I will sit with it to a point where it starts happening without my effort. Sitting and practicing the third eye, the Trikuti, prepares us to meet the Guru. The Guru gives us freedom. The third eye is not freedom. And pain, happiness, sorrow is the same according to our karma. Being aware of the third eye will not reduce our sorrow or our karmas or our confusion about some subjects of life. But certainly the third eye empowers us to look deeply, look into the soul, look into the timeless zones of life. So past life experience, something which may be happening, something which may be coming to us. It's an intuitive power, which all of us have. But the third eye energizes this intuitive power. Sometimes this is used in black magic also. And my research has taught me this, that some black magics will enter through the third eye. That's how they are done. The hukam controls us, not black magic. Black magic is an inferior energy. Whatever happens is the hukam of the Guru. So, being present before the Guru is what we should be worried about. But being aware of these energies is not wrong in themselves. And we can get confused if we have not worked at the third eye and we start imagining we know the third eye. So I have seen some podcasts and some places people talk. It's very easy to energize the third eye. It takes a lifetime to master the third eye, to a point where it's carried beyond death. All of us experience the third eye in varied degrees. But to be able to master it and have the ability to sit at the third eye in stability may take a lifetime. And it's not a play, it's an intense commitment. And then while interacting with the world, living the worldly life, the physical life, and simultaneously doing it can sometimes get confusing. René Descartes wrote a very beautiful treatise on the third eye. He was a mathematician, a philosopher, a psychologist. But being available at the third eye can give us knowledge of our death. but it will not transcend death. It will not give us the ability to know how to deal with death. Certainly it gives us the stability to be thoughtless, so it energizes us. Long ago I read at some place that the third eye is like the shape of the pyramid. It is similar, they say, in modern psychology, even today, in modern science. And that person who I read said also that the third eye sits exactly at the same point where the pyramids sit in the world place. So if I locate the brain, human brain, and the pineal gland, and then the pyramids and the world view, they are similar in location. I don't know. It's possible. That I read also someplace. I did a lot of research in this subject because I had a need to understand this. This is the sadhana of dhyan. Third eye will tell us the intensity of dhyan, where we can focus our dhyan and then focus on some subject, person, or a thing, and then become aware. So third eye is a tool for that. The seat of the soul, the border, says René Descartes. Now, how do I go beyond the third eye? That is not possible in the ego world. Beyond and up to the third eye is the ego world, where I am. But then when I am not, like René Descartes says, I think, so I am. But when I am thoughtless, there is no I. I can be at the third eye thoughtless, where the Shabad, Dhyan, and Swas, breath, they all meet. So the three culminate into one. And then that one, when blessed with Gur Prasad, goes to the Dasam. That is where the door of Anand opens. In the yogic tradition, this Anand, or the Sukhmana Nadi, is the neutral energy, they say. Ida Pingla Sukhmana. When the Sukhmana opens, that's what we are talking about when we talk of Anand and meeting the Guru. So how do we focus on the third eye? How do I train my third eye? How do I energize my third eye? I use dhyan first. If I detach myself from my thought, my thoughts are coming, my thoughts are going, I ignore them. And while I have detached myself from my thought, the energy will come and focus on the third eye, naturally. That's the natural seat. I can use breath. I can use intense breathing. And when I do intense breathing with Shabad, then I will culminate at the third eye. But yet, the energies will become more intense as we go along. In case anybody has some questions, you can keep writing the questions down. We will, in the Zoom, and we will address them as I go on along or in the end of the session. So my thoughts are all over, and then my thoughts culminated to a point where I have no senses of the body also, where all my energy of life is centered at the third eye. This is the real practice, the real intense experience of the third eye. And for this, I have to commit energy, time, and I have to have a certain amount of grace, kirpa, to be able to do it. So if we can energize, do dhyan at the Shabad at the third eye. If I can do the Mool Mantra, for example, at the third eye, and I consciously do it, that is one way. The other way is that I can drop my energies from moving outward. They will naturally culminate to the dhyan, and then I do dhyan of Shabad. That's the other way of doing it. It will take time. It needs breath. It needs elimination of thought. It needs ability to focus and not wander, not have a wandering mind. If I am lazy or if I am ill, not well, that is the hindrance to work on this third eye. If I have sinus issues, then I will not be able to do dhyan at the third eye, because the sinus distracts the energy from the head. Now, ability to see beyond time, past life, future life, also rests in the third eye. So I can, and it can happen naturally without a conscious effort. Somebody comes in front of you and you get this knowledge that this person is from my past life. Or you may not even get it. Depends on what the hukum is, how the energies are playing. But being aware and focused on the third eye gives us a more powerful intuitive energy. It gives us a more intense look at life through different dimensions. Because I can then look beyond the ego self, look into the soul. So they say, looking into the eyes gives us a knowledge of the soul. Similarly, the third eye gives us a knowledge of the soul, the spirit. And where is the dhyan? So if I can do this dhyan, if I can use Simran for this, even then I will reach here. If I use breath and Shabad, I will still reach here. I have to be able to come to the third eye to meet my Guru and drop my ego. Ego is our barrier from experiencing the reality of life. And this barrier is up to the third eye. So, being able to focus at the Agya Chakra, being focused at the pineal gland or the third eye, does not give us freedom. But it gives us the ability to experience Gur Prasad. In Buddhism, if you see the Buddhist statues, Buddha's statue always has a third eye. It has a small dot. There is never any statue in the world of Buddha where there is no third eye. It is the eye of the mind. So how do I, sitting in the darkness, early hours, you can energize your third eye. You can live that other dimension of life. And then that gives us the knowledge of life as well. Something good, bad happening, you may get the information, you may not. Someone else's knowledge also we are able to get in this third eye experience. Like a torch, I beam it somewhere and I can get that knowledge. This is not something which will come by itself. This needs practice, and I have to practice to drop my mind, to focus my mind at the center of the third eye. Now, the Guru Granth Sahib uses the word called Trikuti. Trikuti is also a similar word for the third eye. Now, Trikuti, he says, Kyon Gurbin Trikuti Chutsi? How you will leave the Trikuti without the Guru? You cannot leave the Trikuti without the Guru. So we all need the Guru to transcend and go beyond the third eye. Then Maharaj says, Satgur miliye, Trikuti chute, Chauthe pad mukt dwar. So the three guns gone, Trigun te atit. When I meet my Guru, the Trikuti is gone. And I go beyond it to the Chautha pad. Chautha pad is where there is no doing, it's non-doing. The flavor is non-doing, sahaj. And here, Chauthe pad mukt dwar, and here is the ultimate mukti, the freedom from karam. The Trikuti holds my karam life, my seed mind within it. But beyond the Trikuti, when we meet the Guru, the karams are dropped. You may be having a terrible time in this physical world, but that Sahaj Avastha, the Thirghar, the Anand within is always playing the way it was, the way it is. That is the unchanging mind. That is the mind where no thought is. That mind is not a thinking mind. So this ego mind and the non-ego mind is the barrier. The third eye is the barrier between these two minds. Here Maharaj says, Teen Nadi Teh Trikuti Mahe. There are three rivers in the Trikuti. Now we can say the three guns are the flowing energy of life. The thought energy is flowing. And then he says, Ahnis Kasmal Tove Nahi. And when we don't go beyond this, we can't wash the mind. So purifying the mind is also focusing on the third eye. When the mind becomes purer, its energy goes to the third eye naturally. It ascends. Maharaj says, Kachi matki binas binasa, jis chute trikuti, tis nij karvasa. This world is not permanent, so Kachi, it's a temporary. Kachi matki binas binasa. Here everything is destroyed. Eh jo duniya sehar mela dastagiri na hai. But then he says, Jis chute trikuti, tis nij garvasa. He who has gone beyond the Trikuti, beyond the third eye, has met the Guru and found his nijgar, permanent home, where everything is unified. There is only one world, one mind, one creator, one energy, and that is timeless. And there is no death. Gur prasadi Trikuti chute, Chauthe pad live lai. Again he is saying, with Guru Prasad we leave the Trikuti and go beyond it. And then what do we find? Chauthe pad, Chautha pad. So Jagrat, Supan, Sakhopat, Turiya. They are the four pads. Jagrat is this awakened mind. Supan, the dream mind. Sakhopat, the mind which goes into intense sleep and is thoughtless. And Turiya is beyond expression, the mind which has no thought, which is beyond the three guns, Trigun te atit. Maharaj says, Trikuti for Param Pahapul Paga, Lajpani Mukti Mat, Mutki Mat. He says that the Brahm, the falsehood, the deceit of life goes away. You see the reality of life. You can see beyond life and death. You can see that life is not what we are thinking, only the physical world. But it is beyond the physical world. Maharaj says, Trikuti chute dasma dar khule. We did a session on Dasam Dwar. The 10th door opens when we leave the Trikuti. And we can't leave the Trikuti without the Guru. Because there is no I beyond the Trikuti. Everything about me, us, thought, ego culminates at the Trikuti. We can't go beyond it. Taman khiva pai. Then only we find the exalted state, the Anand state, when we reach the Dasandwar. Why? Dasandwar is the universal mind. It is the mind which is permanently in Anand. Suniya dukh paap ka naas, Nanak bhagta sada vigas. Forever, there is timeless state here, where there is no time, where everything is stable forever. There is no errors, there are no mistakes, there are no losses, there are no hindrances, where the person becomes superhuman in the sense that he meets his creator, meets his source, his or her source. So Maharaj says, Ida Pingala Sukhmana, Trikuti Lang, Tribeni Nai. This is Bhai Gurdas, the Saint Paul of Sikhism, who explains the Guru Granth Sahib. He says beyond the Ida Pingala Sukhmana is the third eye. Trikuti Lang, Tribeni Nai. And then when you cross the Trikuti, there is no three, there is only one. There is no unhappiness, there is no death, there is no such energy where you have negativity in life. But then it is beyond the physical life. Let me address some of the questions which have come, because that may help us find better expression. So, one question has come from Gobind Preet. She wants to get some explanation again. Sukhmana. Well, Sukhmana is one way in which how these three energies are explained in the yogic tradition. So, they don't necessarily matter so much. We are looking at it differently. When we meet the Guru, we find our unconditional happiness, Anand. That is how we look at it. The yogis look at it through Sukhmana. They have these three energies. These are subtle energies, not actual energy flows in the mind, in the brain. The explanation is clear, and I can resonate with it, as I am yoga teacher in practice from last 3 years. Being a Sikh, I wanted to level up my meditative practices, but with Shri Guru Granth Sahib techniques, I am so grateful that I got directed to these sessions, and somewhere I feel it's Guru's hukum. At this stage, I am not standing for mukti. All I am looking for is growth in spirituality and learning, experience as an observer, as I feel that with my body only we can experience. Well, I'm glad you find them useful. To each his own. Aura around us is our mind, is our soul, our spirit. Our body is in the mind, in the man. The man goes beyond the body. That is the aura. Everybody has that. Okay, so these are the only 2 questions we have so far. The others are asking about recordings of the past. They're on YouTube. All our recordings are live on YouTube. You can go and search from that. So, this talk of the third eye, of the Agya Chakra, is more of an experiential thing. And I found that sometimes being aware of these things and experience is relevant, and just reading about them confuses us more. So our direction is still the same. Simran, Jap, and then Seva to find the balance. Because the Seva is what makes us thoughtless. Sev karat hove nehkami, tisko hot parapat swami. This is our way of creatively dropping the mind, which is the same thing as the yogi is trying to do on his own. Do it by practice, by breathing. So this choice we have to make, which way to take. But Simran, Shabad is again the tool. Shabad, Surt and Swas. These are the three energies which culminate at the third eye. And finding our centering at the third eye and stability is our ultimate goal. If there are any other questions anybody has, because this session will not be as long as the others. We will wait for any more questions. Ji. How do we know if we are focusing on the third eye? A knot will form between your eyes. A knot will form between the eyes. If there is intense third eye dhyan, then there a knot will form and the wandering mind will cease. There will be cessation of wandering mind. Okay. How is Swas important? Swas is the one of the three energies. Surt, Shabad and Swas. This is what is Samadhi. The culmination of these three. So the Swas and Shabad, Maharaj says to practice the Swas and Shabad together. And then make yourself thoughtless, where all your energies culminate. What should be Jap, Shabad or Mantra? It's a very personal thing, but Jap means to do Jap. Shabad and Mantra are synonyms. Like the Mool Mantra is Shabad. Mahamantra is Shabad. Any other Shabad which we may use. But this also depends on where am I picking up the Shabad from. If that source is very enlightened, then it makes a meaningful experience. Otherwise, we will not experience. We may go somewhere else with that Shabad. The Shabads are empowered energies by themselves. So it's always a good habit to practice the Mool Mantra intensely, to a point where it's living with us forever. Mandeep ji wants to ask on the mic. Please unmute her.
Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh.
Waheguru ji ki fateh, Maharaj.
Ji, I mean, you said that a knot will be made. What does it mean? Does it mean like
energy knot.
Sorry. Energy knot.
Okay. Shakti knot ban jandi hai. It forms a knot in the third eye.
Sorry. जो ਅਸੀਂ imagine करते हैं.
It's not imagination. There is no imagination there. There is no thought. When we are focused at the third eye, there is no thought. He says Tragun Kyatit.
The thing that you said, that you get the intuition of something in the normal life that sometimes we may get intuition.
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely. But that is more powerful. That is more controlled also. You can see through this third eye consciously if you want to. You can actually see like you see through, not with these eyes, but you see through thought. And you can see on a subject, focus on a person, subject, and you will get some intuitive response about that.
With the seeing, you mean the knowledge of that thing?
Yes. Knowledge of that thing. Do we
So
experience
sometimes that when we imagine or when we are in a dream
imagination?
state, it's more like
Imagination is thought. There is no thought in the
okay.
third eye. Sometimes some revelation can come to us. That can happen. Do we experience some images or colors while focusing on the third eye? You can. In the ego world, you can see colors, but they have no meaning. They are all in the changing mind, thinking mind. They are not culminated, that means. There's wandering in the mind. Colors means that the mind's reality is not in itself, it is perceiving some things. So, focusing on the third eye is by itself an intense experience of the soul, entire soul, not just some colors.
Anji.
Ji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ji Maharaj. Gobind Preet Ji wants to ask. Please unmute her.
Waheguru Ji da Khalsa, Waheguru Ji di Fateh.
Why?
I wanted to ask you, one question is like, you said Surat, Shabad and Simran, Shwas, sorry.
Yes.
So when we concentrate on these three, then it is then when we really can be a little stable on the third eye as you have directed us. Now I wanted to ask you, what is Samadhi? Ena Tinnanu, when we try and regularly we are doing this, is Samadhi so easily gained, like, when these three what you have said we regularly practice, is Samadhi that easy going thing, like, and what is Samadhi? I wanted to know exactly.
Samadhi is when the mind culminates in itself, in its source. When it has no thoughts by itself and nothing comes out of it, but it goes into its inner experience, where it is timeless. Where Swas, Surat is the thoughtless mind. So Swas, Surat and Shabad, they three culminate.
Oh.
And then there is no movement of the mind there. So there are two forms of Samadhi in tradition, one Nirvikalp, one Savikalp. When there is still some thought and when there is no thought. When one goes into one's own source, which Maharaj calls Sun. जब ए हृदय देह न होती तब मन कोठे रहता. हृदय देह न होती अवधु तब मन सुन रहा बैरागी. The man, when it has no body, it goes into sun avastha and it has no rag then, it has no outer expression. It is collapsed into itself.
But that stage, what you are saying and defining,
Depends on how much work and kirpa is there in a life. For a mathematician, a mathematics course can be very easy. For you and me, it may be difficult. So this has to do with how much energy and how much commitment we have and how much kirpa there is, because this is all to do with kirpa.
Is it past in the lifetimes also? Like, in this life, if I'm not able to achieve this, so will Waheguru Ji give me in the next life again?
It depends on what you work with. This is part of the ego, this is part of me, this is my work. If we want to do it, then we have to commit our energy to this. Ji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Ji.
you so
Thank
much.
you, Ji.
Obliged.
Ji. Anyone else wants to ask something else about the Trikuti, the third eye. No more questions? So my experience with the third eye started very early in my life, so I had a need to understand this. Of course, I had a very good mentor who could guide me in these questions. Seva. Seva is our way of going beyond the ego. And the whole barrier of life is the ego barrier. So when I can transcend or have the ability to transcend my ego, can I really see the real world? Our ego is our tool to live this life. And our ability to transcend the ego is to live the other life, where there is no me, but there is only the Creator. Now we can do it by this method, by we practicing Shabad, Dhyan. That's one way. The other way is that my seva, a part of me, I give away without asking for an account. So I've actually found love. Seva will always culminate in love, in giving away love without asking for an account. If we have asked for an account, I gave someone tea and I forgot about it. I did not say I gave you tea. There is seva. But if I gave someone tea and I said, I gave you tea the other day, you didn't recognize it, you did not thank me, now this has become work. It's not seva. Here the ego is energized. But when I don't ask for an account, like they say in the Sufi tradition, that neki kar de khuh vich pa, do good and throw it away in the well. Guru Sahib says in the Asa Diwar, je lode changa apna kar punho neet sadaiye. Do good and get called a neech person, a bad person. So you have actually harnessed the energy of seva. You dropped your ego. And dropping your ego, our ego is the most powerful tool we can have to experience the reality of life, to experience our own source. Because when there is no me, there's only the Creator. So in essence, in our abhyas of Naam will start only when the home goes. Maharaj says that home naame naal virodh hai, doye na bas ek thaye. The ego and Naam are opposite energies. They don't live together. Either the ego will live or Naam will live. So when I have dropped the ego, Naam will live. And what is Naam? Naam is love. Naam is Anand. Naam is rest. Naam is peace. Naam is joy without a reason, unconditional, available to us in our inner mind. So when we do seva with love and don't ask for an account, we give away part of ourselves. That is why Maharaj says that kirt karna hai, na japna te van chakna. That van chakna means give away your ego. Share what you have and give it away with love. Don't harness others' energy. Give it away to others without asking for an account. So seva is our way of transcending the ego. Ji, if you have understood, otherwise I can elaborate more. Taran Bans. Who was my mentor? There was an individual called Sant Gyani Niranjan Singh in Patiala, whom I met at early years of my life. And I stayed with him for about 5 years at an ashram. I'm wanting to have one session about him in the near future, hopefully. My experience of life is defined by the meeting I had with him. And everything that I know, I do, is a reflection of what he has taught me, or what I have learnt in his Sangat. Ji Maharaj. If there are no more questions, we can do the Anand Sahib. One more question. Okay. Shivani ji asked this question. What is the Surt? Surt is the thoughtless mind. Kavan mool, kavan matvela, kavan guru, kiska tu chela. Yogi asked Guru Nanak Sahib Maharaj this question. What is the mool of life? Kavan matvela. What is the utility of this time which we get, this body? And who is your Guru? They ask Guru Sahib. Maharaj says, Pavan Aram Sat Gurmat Matvela. From breath the life starts. Satgur Matvela. Meeting Pavan Aram Satgur Mat. Meeting our Guru is what this body is for. And Shabad is the Guru. Surt Tun Chela. There is no ego. Shabad and Surt. The meeting of these two, the mind finds its source. It's Anand. So Surt is the thoughtless mind, the focused mind. Like Guru Arjan Sahib says that Savdhan ekagar cheet. You have, when you sit in dhyan of Shabad, when you sit in Guru's dhyan, then be alert and ekagar cheet. Prabh ki ustat. Karo sant meet. Savdhan ekagar cheet. One mind, not flowing mind, not thought mind, thoughtless mind. Ji Maharaj. How do I find Guru? Guru is Shabad. Guru is the Shabad energy. So when we focus on the Shabad, the Guru comes into our life. The Guru is revealed to us. We don't need to hunt for a physical Guru. Shabad is the Guru of Guru Nanak, and that is also our Guru, the Guru Granth Sahib. Ji. I stayed with Sangat, with the Sant, not his Guru and my Guru were the same. Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj. Ji. So we can say the Anand Sahib if there are no more questions. Ji Maharaj. So somebody can volunteer to say the Anand Sahib. Indrajit, can you choose somebody then to say? Gagan? हाँ जी, वाहिगुरु महाराज। हाँ जी,
जी मैं ऑडिबल?
हाँ जी, यू आर ऑडिबल। हाँ जी।
वाहिगुरु
There is one more question.
हाँ जी। I thought we need to have a physical guru. No, we do not. Guru Sahib says that clearly. हाँ जी। Guru is everywhere. We need to be in touch with the Guru. If we have the ability to be in touch. हाँ जी, please. So one more question was there. There is no need to have physical Guru. That's what Guru Sahib has taught us. Shabad Guru Surt Tunchela. Shabad is our Guru. Ji Maharaj, please go ahead.
वाहिगुरु जी। राम कली महला तीजा, आनंद एक ओंकार सतगुर प्रसाद। आनंद पाया मेरी माए, सतगुरु मैं पाया। सतगुरता पाया सहज सेती, मन वजिया वाधाइयां। राग रतन परवार भरिया, शबद गावन आइयां। सब दोत गावो हरि केरा, मन जिनी वसाया। कह नानक आनंद हुआ, सतगुरु मैं पाया। ए मन मेरिया, तू सदा रहो हर नाले। हर नाल रहो तू मन मेरे, दुख सब विसारना। अंगीकार ओह करे तेरा, कारज सब सवारना। सबना गला समरथ स्वामी, सो क्यों मनो विसारे। कहे नानक मन मेरे, सदा रहो हर नाले। साचे साहिबा क्या नाही करते रह, करता तेरा सब कुछ है, जिस देहे सो पावे। सदा सिफत सलाह तेरी, नाम मन बसावे। नाम जिनके मन वसया, वाजे शब्द कनेरे। कहे नानक सच्चे साहिब क्या नहीं करते रह। साचा नाम मेरा आधारो, साच नाम आधार मेरा। जिन भुखा सब गवाइयां, कर शांत सुख मन आए बसया। जिन इच्छा सब पुजाइयां, सदा कुर्बान किता गुरु बिठो। जिस दिया एह वडियाइयां, कहे